But usual 1 p.m. Square Income Promotions live stream. Please take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and thank you all for being here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Had a great live stream last night. Gonna have a great live stream again today. Let's give it a few minutes. Tonight I have a meeting, or an open meeting with, or I'm attending, I should say, an open meeting of the Order of Rainbow, which is a Masonic youth group. So I was thinking of talking about that a little bit. Our Masonic youth groups are an incredibly important part of the craft, an incredibly important part of Freemasonry. I don't think they get enough attention sometimes from us. So let's do that. However, that will be after the first 60 minutes. For this first 60 minutes, we're just going to hang out and we're going to wait to see who joins. Again, any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, please let me know. And I'm 1 subscriber away from 3,650 subs, so let's see if we can get there. Thank you to everybody. That's right. Thank you to everybody who joined me last night. Or yesterday, we talked about official visits. I gave my advice on how to make sure that you have a successful official visit. Within Freemasonry. So check out yesterday's 1 p.m. stream. It's titled Official Visit. You can find out more about it, more about ways that you, whether you are a visitor, a member, entered apprentice, fellow craft, secretary, deacon, master, treasurer, how you can make sure that you have a successful official visit. For the time being, let's wait to see who joins. Please, as always, take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for being here. If you do subscribe, make sure you also press the notification bell so you know when I go live. And with that, let's just wait to see who joins. First 60 minutes, I don't have any specific topics. I just hang out and wait to see what you guys want to talk about. And any thoughts you have on Freemasonry. I guess I'm back down to 2 subscribers away from 3,650. So help a brother out. Mario Heat, how is it going for you? I hope your day is going well. I hope you're having a good one. I do not know what that means. Zombies don't exist, but it'd be fun. That is true. Our Prime Minister is on an official visit to Australia. I think he's probably there to try to improve, well, obviously improve relations, including economic and trade relations, would be my assumption. Plus, there's lots of stuff happening right now in the world that he probably wants to talk about. I don't know if California will fall into the ocean, but if the ocean rises, some of California may find itself underwater, I suppose. Paul says, I'm gay. Odin says, I'm a zombie. Well, so be it. It's one of those things. You can't please everybody. Can't please everybody all the time. But for the time being, let's wait to see who joins. By the way, happy birthday, Chicago. Today, it is 189 years old, and it is, I've said it before, I'll say it again, the best city in the world, in my oh so humble opinion. But no, I love Chicago. It's 189 years old as of today. In fact, for a short period of time, the tallest building in the world was also a Masonic building, and it was also a Masonic Lodge building, and it was located in Chicago. So there you go. Interesting little piece of trivia for you. Maybe I'll do a poll question about that somehow. I did not know that. I hope BC is okay. It would make me very sad if BC got attacked by meteorites. Hello, Mr. Courtney. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. As always, thank you for always leaving comments. That is incredibly appreciated. So I'm grateful. Leaving comments 100% helps the channel. It shows engagement, so it's much appreciated. Ireland is probably a little bit older than that. Do you mean the people of Ireland, or just mean like the landmass itself? Or do you mean Irish culture? Or Irish culture? It is St. Patrick's Day coming up very soon, so I know I owe you a bookmark. I'm just getting them in, but I'll send it to you when I have them. Should be very shortly. I've also got a meeting today with the Masonic Medical Research Institute. I am one of their ambassadors, so I can talk to you guys more about that very shortly. Once I get a little bit more information, but it's a Masonic gem. I've talked about it in the past, so. All right, for the time being, let's just wait to see who joins. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and I'm thankful and grateful for everybody who is here. Actually, since it's Chicago's birthday, I'm going to make this the question. Have you visited Chicago before? So, Neil, when you say Ireland 10,000 years old, what do you mean? Do you mean the people, the culture, the landmass, which is a lot older than 10,000 years? No, 33 is the number that comes after 32. I know you're referring probably to the honorary or invitational degree within Scottish Rite. I think Scottish Rite Masons are awesome. 33rd degree Masons in particular are awesome. However, it's not really part of my Masonic journey. I'm an 18th degree Mason, happy to be there. If it goes slow, as long as it goes, right, one foot in front of the other, you can still contribute a lot to the craft, even if you remain as an entered apprentice. I know that there are differences sometimes between what you're allowed to do in different jurisdictions, but just keep showing up, keep working on it. Maybe if today's a nice day, head outside and practice a little bit outside. Why not, And take advantage of the weather. For the time being, we're just going to wait to see who joins. The first 60 minutes, as always, I don't have any specific topics. I just wait to see who hangs out and who wants to chat. The second 60 minutes, I have my specific topics. In this case, it's going to be discussing, amongst other things, International Order of Rainbow. Well, I appreciate giving me the first like. It's very much appreciated. Everybody watching this, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm 2 subs away from 3,650, so help me out. Although my numbers are going up, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you, everybody, for keeping my numbers higher in February than they were in January, and let's hope March follows suit. For the time being, we're just going to wait to see, as always, who joins. I've got some other exciting things coming up as well, which I can't wait for. Masonically, professional wrestling. Yes, proficiency will come, absolutely. But for the time being, we're just going to wait to see who joins. As always, please hit like, please hit subscribe, And I hope everybody is having a great day. We are going to be discussing, as I noted before, we are going to be discussing International Order of Rainbow because I have a meeting with the International Order of Rainbow tonight. It is a open event at the Windsor Masonic Temple. So if you're interested in learning more about a youth group for young women, consider checking it out. And we're just going to wait to see who joins. Yeah, just take your time, enjoy it, enjoy yourself. The most important thing is have fun and enjoy yourself. That's what matters the most. By the way, I now have the gift option available. You guys can leave me gifts if you want. It can be anything from a bag of chips to the thumbs up to the number 67. It's a really cool new thing, so I'm grateful to have it. Um, it's really enjoyable to, as I've said before, to be trying new things always on social media. That's one of the greatest, I think, skills or attributes of social media is it allows you to try new things. So. Oops. Hello, Travis the Pirate. How's it going? Thank you for joining. Doing my 1 p.m. live stream. Going to be talking about the International Order of Rainbow, but that's going to be in a couple hours from now, or actually after the first 60 minutes. First 60 minutes, I just hang out, take questions, chat, enjoy talk to other people. So any questions you have about Freemasonry, any thoughts, any comments, doesn't have to be questions. Just let me know, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. Also, in case anybody's curious, because people have been asking me because they know I love scary movies, I did see Scream 7. I thought it was good. I thought it was a solid entry. I think it's one of the weaker movies of the Scream franchise. But it's still a good movie overall. I just don't think it quite measured up to most previous entries. So it would probably be at the bottom of my list of Scream movies, but still good. I think the biggest problem was it was a weak ending. They had to work on that, but overall, did enjoy it. I certainly, would watch it again, and I think it's a solid addition to the franchise. I just think they kind of whiffed on the ending. That is my humble opinion on that one. So there you go. Oh, well, there you go. And it's Chicago's birthday today, and Winnipeg still beat them. That's all right. I guess my heart should be with Winnipeg after all, in fairness. For the time being, they're just going to hang out. We're going to wait to see who joins. As always, please take a moment. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Mr. Courtney's saying, go Winnipeg, indeed. I suppose it makes sense we should all be celebrating Winnipeg. The, my home. So if you like me, then, you can credit Winnipeg. If you don't like me, then you can blame Winnipeg, both of which is perfectly fine. Both of which are completely reasonable. Either way, blame or support Winnipeg. How close is Chicago from Windsor? It's about 5 hours away. If you drive it, you can probably get there in like 4.5, because basically you cut right across Michigan. You go through Kalamazoo, down the other side. But I usually take the bus or the train. Train gets there in about 4.5 to 5 hours, if I recall correctly. Bus, usually a little bit longer. It can be almost an all-night trip sometimes because they have the stop-offs. But still, not crazy far. I've done the flight a couple times, and that's like an hour, if that. But yeah, not too far. So it's one of those places I kind of fell into by accident. But since I first went there, way back like 15 years ago, more than that almost, I fell in love with the city and I try to get back there as often as I can. And I've been lucky to visit it several times. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for those opportunities. And I talk a lot about why I love it so much on my personal YouTube channel, but also Masonically. I've been to a ton of meetings in Chicago, um, like Masonic meetings, events, barbecues, celebrations, like dozens. Got a lot of great meals there as well in Chicago, Portello's, deep dish pizza, all through Masonic Lodge meetings. The point is, I'm grateful for all of the times I've got to spend in Chicago. So, celebrate the greatest city on earth because today it is 189 years of age. Don't look a day over 15 years, put it that way. I think so, Dad, but I mean, it's unfortunate because I've been going there for a long time, never felt unsafe, always loved it, made a lot of incredible friends. So, no, I think it's a really great city. I mean, you could argue, and this, I understand this is an arguable point, so people can debate back and forth. You could argue in terms of what the most important cities for arts, culture, music in America, in the world, really. It's what? Nashville would probably have to be the top of the list. Los Angeles is up there. Um, Detroit and Motown. But then Chicago absolutely needs to be in the running for its comedy scene, the Blues Brothers, the blues themselves, music wise. It was Gotham City in the Batman movies. Like maybe in terms of art and culture, you could argue it should be at the top. I think that's fair, personally. Either event, happy birthday, Chicago, greatest city on earth. 189 years of age. I can say your videos have completely turned me off from Freemasonry. Well, so be it. Can't win them all. I mean, we may have pizza Fridays. That depends on the junior warden. The junior warden is responsible for serving food at Masonic lodges and at Masonic functions. Um, so you would have to ask him, if you are a Freemason, you'd have to ask him if possible you can order pizza at your meetings. He'd have to decide, what is it about my videos that have turned me off, that have turned you off of Freemasonry? Um, and how can I be better to maybe not have you turned off of Freemasonry? Got to talk to the lodge. Got to talk to the worshipful or to the junior warden. I've had many pizzas at Masonic Lodge meetings. I've also had many other meals at Masonic lodges. The food at a Masonic lodge, it's one of those issues, or not issues per se, it's not the right term, but it's a tough job to have to be the person responsible for providing meals to your Masonic brethren. Because, first of all, you're dealing with the possibility of, like, you have to consider, amongst other things, you have to consider dietary restrictions. Both, you could have, let's say, religious restrictions, like can't eat pork. You could have medical restrictions, like allergies, gluten intolerance. You could have preferences, like you could be vegetarian or vegan. You have to take those things into account. On top of it, you have to make sure that you're staying within a budget. You have to make sure the meals are there on time. Um, or early. You have to clean up afterwards. I mean, it's not, you have to try to guess how many people will show up. You're always running the risk of either you have too much food, in which case, in some ways, that's kind of a wasted budget, or you have too little food and then you're ordering stuff last minute. You have to think about the logistics of it, plates, cups, making sure that stuff is updated. I mean, it's a tough job. So I've been a junior warden several times, and every single time it's been challenging. How's it hanging? It's hanging well, Andy. Be less open-minded. Oof, about to sneeze. Maybe. Well, I mean, I guess I would say, how do you define open-mindedness? I mean, Freemasonry has always supported universal tolerance. I'm not sure what it would mean to be less open-minded. There are certain things Freemasons would not be open-minded about. Criminal activity within a lodge would be a suspension and, contacting the authorities. I would say, though, a backbone of Freemasonry is the belief that it is worth spending time with other people, even if those other people are of different political, ethnic, religions, different political beliefs, ethnicities, religions, whatever it might be. I think in modern times is actually a really good thing to have, because I think, unfortunately, so very often we do not, we are not allowing ourselves that, right? We are so focused on our differences, we fail to appreciate the fact that it is worth spending time with us. So I am not from the Rainbow Lodge, but International Order of Rainbow is a part of Freemasonry. Unless you're using rainbow to imply I'm LGBTQ, which maybe I am, maybe I'm not, does not make a difference. Reject modernity, then throw your phone away. Professor with no PhD, please hit like and subscribe. It's a good point. A lot of people say they reject modernity until they find themselves needing medical treatment, or their phone, or emergency services. Then suddenly they're very much all for modernity. So I would keep that in mind. I think Amish are cool. Well, I mean, the values of modernity brought us the values of technology, you could argue. I mean, you can't really separate the two, right? I don't really know how you go back to living with the values of the 15th century with the technology of the 21st century. Um, right? Because as every century has advanced and the technology have advanced, social virtues have changed in accordance to the changing technological situation. At least that seems to be my experience. You may disagree, and that's fine, but, right? I mean, technology and social values tend to change on a pretty consistent course. But holding a value, I mean, sure, I would need to know a little bit more about what that value is, Azareth. But yeah, I think there's an argument to be made for what you're saying, which is absolutely, you could argue that just being consistent in a principle, being consistent in an idea, is in and of itself valuable. Um, I'm not sure. But again, the issue is, what is that value, right? Consistency, if you're consistent in that you think every person of a different race than you should be shipped into the ocean and, sunk to the bottom of it, I'd rather in that case you be inconsistent in your position than consistent, because I would find that quite concerning. So I think it's one of those things where I'm not necessarily sure that a consistent position is inherently virtuous. I would need to know what the position is you have. Sometimes being willing to change is actually a more valuable, a virtuous position, because at least it shows humility and a willingness to reconsider. Um, Once again, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for being here. Consider a super chat. Let me know how you guys are doing and any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. Yes, the world needs balance. People need balance. We all need to find balance. I think one of our biggest issues is, in some cases, we have this idea. I mean, Freemasonry does, one of its greatest values and greatest benefits is it encourages people to be balanced in their approach to life, not to stray too far to the right hand nor to the left from virtue. It's very easy to thank you, Jason, for the gift. It's incredibly easy, in my experience, to believe you're acting virtuously, but go too far one direction or the other. Most technicality has nothing to do with modern values. In fact, they seem, well, I mean, you're not wrong. I do think eating pizza every day would be good. I'm not sure. I mean, technology is a tool, right? But it seems that like using Freemasonry is a good example of that, right? Like Freemasonry in 2026, it has technology at its base that many brethren from the past did not. It has cell phones and smartphones. You can send summonses via email. You can keep in contact with brethren from around the world through Zoom meetings, things like that. Is that causing the stagnation of Freemasonry, or is it simply human beings are not using the tools properly or adequately? Like, is it the technology's fault or is it humans' fault? I tend to think technology is just a tool. That's how we use it. But trying to go back to, let's say, social values of the 11th century, 12th century, 13th century, whatever century, while having 21st century technology seems like it would be a major challenge. Because social values, they evolve based on the technological ability of the community, of the society. Um, well, that's a good point Dad brings up, paying attention to the road instead of listening to, well, I mean, listening to music or whatever it might be, talking on the phone. That's a very good point that Dad brings up. Maybe everybody's responsible. Maybe everybody is responsible. Thank you, Mr. Courtney. Did you enjoy learning, or what do you think about my advice for an official visit? Have you taken part in an official visit yet um, in Texas? I'm not sure if it's called official visit. It may be called a different name, but basically it's the Grand Lodge representative attending the lodge, learning more about its proficiency in ritual and administration, and then reporting back to the Grand Lodge itself. Um, yeah, that is a problem, Satan. Azareth, it is one of those situations where, and I absolutely agree with you, where it can feel like, you know, you can be the most responsible person in the world. If other people are not living up to their responsibilities, that can make things very hard. I'm not sure I necessarily have the best answer for that, except to say, as always, um, just do your best. Don't worry about what other people do. Control what you can control. Control the controllable. The big arch in St. Louis, or arches in technology. Right? Control the controllable. That's, I think, a very good piece of advice from John Cena. So there you go. New McDonald's burger. Is there a new McDonald's burger called the Big Arch? I do not know what Jason is talking about at this point. And yes, I learned something new about Freemasonry. Good. I hope so. I mean, obviously, what I want to make sure is this is a channel that teaches people things about Freemasonry, both if you used to be, or if you are currently a Freemason or interested in Freemasonry, or maybe even if you used to be a Freemason and stepped away for whatever reason. I still hope it brings you some interesting information, some new perspectives on Freemasonry. Um, I am not Kane's brother, but I'll take it. Most people say I look ugly on these streams. So if you think I look like Kane's brother, all the better. I appreciate it very much. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for being here. Hope you're all having an excellent day. Thank you for a great stream yesterday. I hope you guys learned a lot about official visits. Again, the first 60 minutes, I don't have any specific topics. I just hang out, wait to see, who wants to chat. So that is the goal. That is absolutely the goal. Is I mean, it's really the goal is to turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession, but the way to do that really has to be by creating interesting and educational content. So, well, I mean, I don't necessarily which is interesting. I don't necessarily want Freemasonry to be of interest to elites in power. I mean, I think I want Freemason to be of interest to everybody, whether you are a, whether you are anything from a janitor, custodian to a prime minister, right? I want you to be of interest, Freemason to be of interest to anyone, regardless of your situation, regardless of your quote unquote power, especially because in a Masonic lodge, there is no such thing as an elite. Everybody's equal. The worshipful master could be a janitor and the entered apprentice could be the prime minister. Um, but in terms of the stagnation of Freemasonry, I mean, it's not a issue that is unique to Freemasonry, right? That's one of the things to keep in mind. It is an issue that exists around the world in terms of civic society and civic institutions. There are many civic institutions that are stagnating. Elks, Moose, Rotary, Knights of Columbus. There's not a single reason for that stagnation. It's complicated. Some would argue it is technologically driven, right? The development of the television encouraged more people to stay home and not go out to social events or public events. That is right. Some get swords. Bama Yard Dog, welcome back. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Um, well, it depends on what the meeting is for. If we're bringing in a new Mason, it's a ritual or ceremonial event. Um, so there's ritual and ceremony. If it's an administrative meeting, we are talking about how to maintain the lodge itself, how to maintain we're talking about how to maintain the Masonic Lodge itself and all the things that go into that. Correspondence, minutes, accounts, maybe some Masonic education, maybe some long range planning for future events. In order to maintain any type of group organization, there needs to be an administrative structure in place. Um, well, Mr. Keeps, stop shaming the size of my cup. It's not the size of the cup, it's I don't know how to finish that sentence and make it make sense. It's not the size of the cup, it's the strength of the coffee within. Well, I mean, they're real swords in that they're made of metal, but they're not real in the sense that they're incredibly dull. I don't think most of those swords could cut through butter, to be honest with you. Um, but nonetheless, they are shaped like swords and they are for ceremonial purposes. But you don't get it right away. You got to advance through the degrees. Bama Yard Dog, yes, Freemasonry is not a Christian organization, despite what some will tell you. Those people who tell you that are incorrect. So, no, it is not a Christian organization. It is not a religion, though it does have many members who are Christian. It does borrow from Christian theology. It also borrows from many other theologies and philosophies and ideas. So it's not exclusive to any one religion. It welcomes men of all different faiths and beliefs. And it evolved from stone Masonic guilds of the Middle Ages, not from any religious organizations. I do. I feel like you're judging this cup. This cup is wonderful. I have drank so much coffee from these cups. There you go. It's not the size of the cup, it's the strength of the coffee. Folgers all the way. All right, nice. That's awesome. Yes, I got a big gap in my teeth. Please hit like and subscribe. I tell myself that every day. I tell myself that every day. How's it going, Mr. Keeps? When is your event going again? It's the St. Patrick's Day thing, right? I don't know who that is, and please hit like and subscribe. Because it's my gap. So there you go. We're just going to wait a bit. Like I said, the first 60 minutes, no specific topics, just hang out. Second 60 minutes, today we're going to talk about International Order of Rainbow, a Masonic youth group. I don't think our youth groups get enough love, so I'm going to see if I can change that. Thank you for already being subscribed, Melon the Fox. How's it going? The reason I asked the question about Chicago is today is Chicago's 189th birthday, so happy birthday, Chicago. Okay, it's a St. Patrick's Day event, right? Nice, brother Michael Moore. Were you there for Masonic events in Chicago? By the way, Michael Moore, I know you're very busy, but tonight in Windsor, there is a public meeting for the International Order of Rainbow. So if you want to come out, by all means, it's 7 o'clock, suit and tie, and you can wear your regalia. Um, I do not. I do not. Well, I mean, sometimes I get lazy. Um, I don't get it cut as much as I'd like or as quickly as I'd like. So, but I try to keep it short. But okay, go to that. Obviously, that's more important. Go to your business meeting. But don't forget, everybody watching this, March 28th, 9 to 11 a.m., Community Services Fair at the Windsor Masonic Temple, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Um, well, you keep showing up here, CVA. There's nothing stopping you from going to a different stream or starting your own stream and calling Freemasons evil. I don't know why you have to be here. Lodge number one. We are lodge number one, at least in my heart. I gotta maybe I'll get you that for your birthday this year, Dad. A Keurig. Although you're a drip coffee machine. It's been with you for a long time. I got you a kettle. Maybe this year for your birthday, I'll get you a drip coffee machine instead. Or sorry, a Keurig coffee machine. Maybe that'll be your birthday gift. The actual number one in Quebec. In Yeah, it could be. Or in no well, I mean, it's every jurisdiction, right? So like technically lodge number one, actually the very first lodge doesn't have a name. It's Lodge Zero, and it's in Scotland. Um, it's like Lodge Not because there's no number next to it. But every jurisdiction, like Ontario has a lodge number one, Quebec has a lodge number one, Prince Edward Island, they all have lodge number ones, Texas, at least theoretically. Even like Prince Hall, it has African lodge number one, I think out of Boston, if I recall it correctly. Well, definitely not the first one ever, but it could be the first one ever in your jurisdiction, right? The first one ever would be St. Mary's, I suppose, in Scotland, which I think doesn't even have a number. It's considered number zero. But whether it is Quebec, Ontario, Scotland, Texas, wherever it might be, the really cool thing is, again, every lodge is numbered based on when it was chartered, right? So my mother lodge is Windsor Lodge number 403 in Windsor, Ontario. So what that means is it was the 403rd lodge to be chartered in Ontario. Um, and the numbers don't apply outside of jurisdiction. So like Mr. Keeps is talking about his neck of the woods. in Ontario, Lodge number one does not mean it's the first lodge ever created. What it means is it's the first lodge ever chartered in Ontario. And then Manitoba will have a lodge number one, et cetera, et cetera. Having said that, yes, Mr. Keeps, please send it to me. I would very, very much appreciate it. So 1752, it's definitely old. It's definitely very, very old. I mean, the first lodge in Canada, well, the first lodge in Canada was in Nova Scotia, Annapolis, if I recall correctly. Let me just double check. First Masonic Lodge in Canada, it was Nova Scotia. It was Annapolis Lodge, if I recall correctly, or Annapolis, Nova Scotia. The first civilian Masonic Lodge in Canada was established in 1738 at Annapolis Royal, Nova Scotia. Now, keep in mind, this is what Google is saying, but I knew it was the case. First civilian Masonic Lodge. There was Freemasonry in Canada before the first official lodge was formed. It came over in the Navy. It came over with British military encampments, and I think French encampments as well. Right? Freemasonry spread throughout the world in three ways. Well, it spread throughout the world with one medium, that is water, on naval ships, but it spread, through military encampments and, many cases, the very first Masonic lodges to exist outside of England were through British military encampments and British military enforcements, which had Masonic lodges within the enforcements. It also spread through economic means, right? Hong Kong, Macau, lodges were there primarily set up as a result of trading posts. That's why so many Masonic lodges, first Masonic lodges, were formed in port towns, because that's where the ships would land, right? Freemasonry spread by sea. And the third way was education. In many cases, dignitaries from, especially the Middle East, but around the world, where there was no Freemasonry, their kids, young people would travel to America, to England, to go to Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, whatever it is. They would join Masonic lodges while there and then return back home and bring Freemasonry with them. So those are the three ways that it first developed. Really interesting point, and kind of a scary point as well, considering the current situation in the Middle East. The idea of Freemasonry existing on military bases, it still is the case in the Middle East. To my knowledge, there are at least 2 Prince Hall Masonic lodges on military bases in the Middle East. My thoughts are with all my Masonic brothers who may be in harm's way, as well as anybody who may be in harm's way. So Freemasonry is not a religion. So it did not double as a church. Some Masonic lodges definitely met in church basements and stuff. They just needed the space. A lot of them met above taverns or wherever space was available. The lodge I'm talking about was an army lodge turned civilian. So it might very well be the first Masonic lodge in Canada. That's very possible. If it was an army lodge turned civilian, there's a very good chance it was, well, actually, no, hold on just one second. 1738. Yeah, that's the first civilian. So it could have been, let me see, first Army Masonic Lodge in Canada. So the first military or Army Lodge to function in Canada was Lodge number 85, Irish Registry, which was the 30th Regiment of Foot stationed at Louisbourg in 1746. There was the Lodge of the 8th, or King's Own Regiment, issued a field warrant in 1755. 40th Regiment of Foot Lodge, this Irish Registry Lodge number 42 is active in Louisbourg, Quebec. There's Sea Lodge number 254, Vanguard. These early Army lodges operated under traveling warrants, which allowed them to hold meetings wherever the regiment was stationed. That's a really interesting point as well, right? Which is, you would ask yourself, like, if you are part of a Masonic lodge that is part of a military encampment, how do you meet? Because you're traveling around to different jurisdictions, you would be issued traveling warrants, right? You'd be issued a traveling warrant, which means it allows you to meet in whatever jurisdiction you happen to be in at the time. I would suspect the military bases have traveling warrants as well, unless I suppose you know the base isn't moving. So in theory, you don't need a traveling warrant. I suppose you can just put the warrant at the base. Um, my first lodge was number 123 when we amalgamated. See, that's interesting, Dad. Um, Zion number one lodge is the oldest lodge west of Appalachians in the North Americans. I'm sure Albuquerque does, without question. Member of Lodge 144. See, that's interesting, Dad. The fact that your number went up, because in my experience, it's the same thing as with Michael Moore. Usually the lodge takes on the lowest number. It takes on the number of the oldest Masonic lodge. Um, Order out of chaos. Jump in Jehoshaphat. Freemasonry is not military, nor is it satanic, but it did travel through the military. So it's interesting. So maybe the first military Masonic lodge to function in what is now Canada was Lodge number 85, Irish Registry, which was the 30th Regiment of Foot, which was garrisoned in Louisbourg, which was in Nova Scotia. But again, that's really interesting. Most jurisdictions will have a lodge number one. In Detroit, it's Zion Lodge number one. But most jurisdictions will have a lodge number one. All right, so we are going to wait a little bit longer, wait to see who joins. Michael Moore, again, thank you for being here as always. I greatly appreciate it. No, because it's not a military lodge. Well, I guess I use the term military lodge. It's a Masonic lodge that exists within a military encampment. So all the members are Masons. But you could have, let's say, a military encampment of 5,000 people, and 30 of them could be Masons. So when they meet, they're discussing Masonic matters. They're not discussing military strategies or stratagems. That's a separate issue for leadership to decide. Well, hello from Israel. Hello from Canada. Said this before, I'm a member of a Masonic lodge in Israel, Lodge of the Holy Land, number 50 out of Tel Aviv. I've actually posted that a few times. By the way, Michael Moore, I didn't ask you, what was your favorite thing about visiting Chicago? Do you have a favorite Chicago memory? And if so, what is it? I would love to visit Israel one day. Obviously, right now there's a travel advisory in effect for obvious reasons. I don't plan on going there anytime soon. But once government tells me it's safe and once I feel it's safe, yeah, I'd love to visit Israel. I'd love to visit a Masonic lodge in Israel. I think that'd be incredible and really, really fun. Well, definitely not. Winston Churchill was not the real villain of anything. Oh my gosh, that's an incredible, incredible thing. I don't think so. Isn't that a Jewish custom? I'm not Jewish myself, so I thought that was a specific religious custom. I mean, I wouldn't want to, I'm not, I don't like to, it's the same reason I won't take, let's say, communion in a Catholic church. It's not because of anything against it. It's because I don't want to take part in a religious ceremony if I'm not of that religion. I feel like it's not for me to do so. Um, that's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen the brass stein. Do you still have it? 75th year in 1989. Wow, time flies. I would have been 6 years old at the time. Well, then maybe I will kiss the wall. I don't know. I have nothing against the theory of it. Again, I'd love to visit Israel one day. We'll see. I don't have any plans right now. My next possible trip, possible plan is going back to the Philippines in April. It just depends. I'm waiting to get a couple of things sorted out. But as soon as I know, believe me, I'll be telling people about it. Maybe, Mr. Perspective, please hit like and subscribe. Symbolism is the oldest language. Language itself is symbolism, at least written language. What is a letter if not a symbol that expresses a particular sound? We are going to be hanging out for another 10 minutes, and we're going to start on the main subject, International Order of Rainbow. Nice. That's really cool. You should display it on that shelf where you have all the other Masonic items and items about mom and stuff displayed. Well, all the letters of all the different languages, right? What is any letter of any language except a symbol that represents a sound? Where is the Chanahan Manuka area? Whenever I go to Chicago, obviously I've said this before, primarily where I'm going is Glenview, Illinois, but then I always try to spend at least a little bit of time in Chicago itself, if and when I can. Nice. Again, the Philippines, I visited it once. It was beautiful. The ANCOM, the Annual Communication, this year is taking part in Tagaytay, which is, I think, a couple hours south of Manila. Let me see. Or Tagaytay. I'm curious. It is. Oh, I would say X is not designated to a sound. I suppose. Well, I mean, trying to think. Tax, right? That X has a sound that's designated to it. That X sound at the end of it. Right, in the same way. Yeah, it's a 1 hour, 11-minute drive, 2 hours, 14 minutes by bus. I wonder if it'd be cheaper to actually just stay in the Philippines, but go back and forth on a bus in the morning. Your Mayfe, we do the whole morning davening prayers in Hebrew and study old rabbis. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. Please like and subscribe. Well, xylophone, not so much. But again, the letter E is sometimes silent, sometimes makes a sound, right? The vicissitudes of language is a little bit different, let's say, than, especially in English, than other languages. But for the time being, we're just going to wait to see who joins. Please, as always, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Any thoughts on Freemasonry? In 5 minutes, we're going to start talking about. I'm going to start talking about International Order of Rainbow, because tonight at 7 p.m. there is a open meeting at the Windsor Masonic Temple. In the Philippines, things are fine in the Philippines, to my knowledge, and we wouldn't be going over the Middle East, at least to my knowledge. I mean, they will tell me if it's not a good idea to travel. I shall trust them. I shall trust the government and the flights. I mean, the pilots want to live too, right? So they're not going to fly anywhere that's too dangerous to live or to travel, um, or that's in danger. At least you would hope. So that would be my theory there on that one. Plus, you got to be willing to take a little bit of risk sometime for the good of Freemasonry. I'm just trying to figure out if it's possible, if I do go, if it makes more sense to stay in Manila and travel back and forth, because it looks like Manila is a lot cheaper to stay in than Tagaytay, which I guess makes sense because it looks like Tagaytay, the Philippines, is more of a resort town. It looks like you take I don't even know what this is called, the Mendez Cavite. It's like an hour and 15 minutes. So I think you could probably go back and forth. I'm kind of curious. I'm on a bit of a wild rabbit hole at the moment, but I promise I'll get to Rainbow in just 1 second. Am I religious? No, I don't think I'm religious. I believe in a supreme being, as all Freemasons must, but I would not say my supreme being is religious. It's not any particular, it's not a particular religious belief. I believe my supreme being is best understood as the rational nature of the universe, as understood through geometry and science. So, I mean, there are many Freemasons who believe in Jesus and are Christian. I believe Jesus was a real, was a human being. I think he was definitely a historical figure. I'm not necessarily one who believes in the theological or the supernatural components of it. Do Masons do full moon rituals? No, I mean, Freemasonry, I mean, the moon is an important symbol within Freemasonry, without a doubt. It's one of the lights in Freemasonry, very important symbol. In some ways, the senior warden represents the moon because he, is responsible for closing the lodge. But I've never heard of any Freemasons doing any rituals specifically during the full moon. Hello from Tel Aviv. Well, hello. Like I had said, I really want to visit Israel. I am a member of a Masonic lodge in Israel, Lodge of the Holy Land number 50. I think it'd be really incredible and really fun to get to visit a Masonic lodge in Israel. Specifically, Lodge Holy Land number 50. I think that would be awesome. Haven't got the chance to yet, but hopefully I will one day soon. Lots of members here. There is, I mean, there is Freemasonry in the in the Middle East. A lot of people don't realize it does exist in Israel. It also exists in Jordan. There's also some Masonic lodges, though not necessarily recognized in um, excuse me, in Lebanon. They're recognized by different groups and organizations or different have different regularity statuses. The point is, there is without question a great deal of Freemasonry that exists within the Middle East, also on military bases. Thank you, Oscar, for the gift. And so, again, with what's happening in the Middle East, and Oscar, you're saying you're from Tel Aviv, my thoughts are with all of my Masonic brethren who may be in harm's way across the Middle East, including Masonic lodges on military bases in the Middle East as well. Um, if you are traveling there and you got stuck there during hostilities, keep on checking in with the government when you can. Register with the government so they know where you are. Um, Shelter in place if you're being instructed to. And we're all thinking of your safety. If you know of any Masonic efforts to assist anybody, please let me know. Um, I would really love, again, to visit a Masonic lodge in Jordan. I think that would be incredible. Because a lot of people don't realize that Freemasonry is in the Middle East. And also, I know that in Jordan, Freemasonry does have somewhat more of I'm trying to think of what the word is, a more negative connotation for some people. So I think it would be really, really cool to go there and support it. Show, that us Freemasons are good people, despite what maybe some misconceptions are in a country like Jordan. Do you believe in the Supreme Being? I would say metaphysical more than physical. Metaphysical is how I would describe it. If I could share one piece of wisdom, some would say I have no wisdom to share at all. Honestly, take your time and enjoy the process. It will be over so quickly. I mean, it's the old, yes, she is. I've grown to accept it. Bandits going hog wild in the litter. The I'm trying to think of the best way. I'm trying to just enjoy it, enjoy the process, and don't. It's going to rush anyways. Like, you remember the from Rocky 3, There Is No Tomorrow. Like, I can tell you, I've been a Mason for 20 years, just about 20 years. 19. I'll be 20 in 2007, and you know it went by in a snap. It went by so quickly. Looking back, I mean, the days felt long sometimes, but I went to sleep one night in 2007 and I woke up in 2026. It absolutely flew by. There is no tomorrow. So that means enjoy the time you have within Freemasonry. Enjoy it. Don't take it for granted, and don't forget that it is absolutely going to go by in a heartbeat. So enjoy it, right? And every time you miss some lodge meeting and you think to yourself, I can just get to the next one, I can just get to the next one. Like, no, you might not be able to. You don't know what next month is going to hold. It's easy to say you'll make it to the next one. You don't always know that there will be a next one. The lodge may not make it. You may have a medical emergency. You may have another emergency. You don't have as much time as you think. So, I mean, I'm sure all the people on here who are my age or older, not saying you guys are old, but like Dad, like my Masonic career, 20 years, I swear it feels like 20 minutes sometimes. So there is no tomorrow. So I guess Cool Aid SIPA thinks Freemasonry is a waste of time. Well, there you go. Kool-Aid thinks Freemasonry is a waste of time. Why do you think Freemasonry is a waste of time, Kool-Aid? We'll give him a couple minutes to respond, and then I'm going to start talking about Rainbow. Why? Because tonight I have a International Order of Rainbow open meeting. Rainbow is a Masonic youth group. So we're going to talk about it in a second. There you go, because he drank the Kool-Aid indeed. And by the way, I'm talking about Rainbow today. I may very well start discussing at some point soon Demolay, because honestly, I've not really discussed Demolay near as much as I should. It is another excellent Masonic youth group. They are actually holding, let me see if I can find this now. What's the point of what? Freemasonry or my channel? I'm assuming you're saying Freemasonry. The point of Freemasonry is same as almost any civic or social group. The point of Freemasonry is the belief that it is worth spending time with one another. It is worth enjoying one another's company. So there you go. Let's see. Right? But that's true for anything. I mean, when it was Aristotle, right, who said man is a political animal, what he meant by that is not that human beings are Republican, Democrat, left-wing, right-wing. What he meant by that is human beings like to spend time with one another. It's worth it for our social, mental, physical health to spend time with one another, to enjoy one another's company. That's the point of Freemasonry. What's the point of going out with others on a Friday night, you know? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, I suppose everybody has to figure that out for themselves. What's the point of going out with your friends on a Friday night, right? And why go to one place when you can go to another? Ultimately, it's because you enjoy it. You enjoy the thing that is Freemasonry. I enjoy tradition. I enjoy universality. I enjoy lessons and ethics of tolerance and of respect for others. I enjoy feeling connected to my family, especially my grandfather, who passed away before I was born. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, what's the point of playing football? It's to spend time with other people. It's the preservation of football as a sport. You know, what's the point of the thing that is done is not as important as the social aspect of that thing. Well, sure. You can also go out with your friends with Freemasonry, right? I mean, you can do what you want to do. It's kind of like saying, why listen to my favorite song when I can listen to your favorite song? Because it's my favorite song, right? Kool-Aid Sippa, you and I can both, at the end of the day, listen. So my favorite song is Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. That's a song I love more than anything else. You could say, why don't you just listen to a different song that I love? Well, because I like Simple Man. I like Freemasonry. You don't have to. Right? And you can find a million ways to fulfill the human desire for a connection and to be part of something. And you can find that by exclusively going out with your friends on a Friday night. Some of us, like me, prefer a more formalized approach to it, to put us in a more privileged position to help the world around us. And as Michael Moore says, to improve ourselves and the community. At its core, the common interest is spending time with one another. I mean, I've always said, the core belief of Freemasonry is that it's worth spending time with other people, and Freemasonry gives you a formal reason to do so. I would suggest, though, many Freemasons do have an interest in tradition, history, and charity, which tends to be things that most Freemasons tend to have in common. Yes, Freemasonry has zero to do with messiahs. Freemasonry is not a religion. I don't buy that non-existent G, the idea of its ritualistic war and death. I mean, Freemasonry definitely has an element to it that is meant to mimic violence or just to be violent. But I mean, I don't think you can look at baseball and say it's ritualistic war and death, for example. So I did visit my grandfather's lodge and my dad's lodge. My grandfather passed away before I was born, obviously. I mentioned that before, but I still got to visit his lodge in Haltwhistle, and it was incredible. Um, well, then I guess it's circular, Kool-Aid. So be it. By the way, I mentioned before D Molay, um, another excellent Masonic youth group. They are having a Kidney Foundation Zoo Walk, May 17th, 2026. Detroit Zoo, 8450 West 10 Mile Road. As someone who is dealing with some kidney stuff potentially, I think I might be going to that. We shall see. Um, Also, I wanted to mention, um, make sure I get this correct. I do not have kidney stones. It's not my kidney, it's somebody else's kidney that I'm dealing with. Let's see. If I could find it now. It's a Hindu celebration today. I want to make sure I get it correct. Here it is. Today is Holi. It's the Festival of Colors. Holi, also known as the Festival of Colors, is a Hindu celebration that welcomes springtime, new beginnings, and a fresh start through play, dance, and merriment. Traditions vary depending on geographical location, but many celebrants will gather around sacred fires, throw brightly colored powder and water amongst revelers, and share delicacies with friends and families. There are many myths, stories, and legends associated with the festival. Happy Holi to those who are celebrating. We have many Hindu Freemasons. I wish them nothing but a happy and joyous festival of colors, or happy and joyous Holi. Well, if I don't make a good case for it, then so be it. Maybe try going to a local Masonic lodge. They usually have tours and open houses. You can learn more about it then. I'm very sorry that happened. I was very lucky that, and I know not everybody has this, but both of my mom and dad were alive for pretty much all of my life. My mom passed away a couple of years ago. It was very hard to lose her at the age of 42. At the age of 40. I can only imagine how hard it would be to lose your mom or to never get to really meet your mom. But at least you saw her on her phone. Um, I did. I saw a thumbs up. It's much obliged. I don't know what that means. My dad was still a Mason. Yeah, he's still a Mason now. He's still alive. He didn't see me join, but he did come out for my third degree, and that's a very fond memory I have, seeing him be part of my Masonic raising, third degree. You'd have to ask him, I guess, what his reaction was to it. So tonight, 7 o'clock, I'm going to a public meeting of the International Order of Rainbow at the Windsor Masonic Temple. Rainbow, so it's technically, the full title is called the International Order of Rainbow Girls, or sorry, International Order of the Rainbow for Girls. It's often shortened to Rainbow or Rainbow Girls, is a leadership and service youth development organization for girls ages 6 to 21. Rainbow Girls take on leadership roles at the local and national level, speak in front of small and large groups, select and plan their own events, and work as a team. Events include formal banquets, sleepovers, and everything in between. Rainbow Girls learn through doing, leading, serving others, and having fun in the process. Welcome girls of all backgrounds, races, and religions. While Rainbow asks members to believe in a higher power, they are non-denominational. You don't need to belong to a church to join. Why are they called Rainbow? Hold on just 1 second. Let me pull back. Group is inspired from the beautiful symbol in the sky, and each of the 7 colors of the rainbow represent a life lesson like love, loyalty, and service. Why am I going? Sorry, Mr. Keeps. Why am I going to the Philippines or to the kidney thing? I guess you're on your own. I have. If I make it to the Philippines, it'd be incredible. I still don't know for sure. So, since 1922, which is when Rainbow originated, Rainbow Girls have used the values of the rainbow to guide their choices and get ready for life. Think of the rainbow in the sky. Each color is a reminder to make your life brighter and to be the best version of yourself. Um, Love is red, treating people. So red equals love. Treat people, including yourself, with kindness and respect. The way you act matters. Um, Orange is religion. You don't have to follow one religion. What counts is having beliefs that guide you and living by them. Yellow is nature. Pause and notice the world around you. There's beauty in the little things, the sky, the trees, and even a quiet moment. Green is immortality. Think about how you want people to remember you. Your actions, words, and choices leave a mark. Blue is fidelity. Be loyal, stick to your word, stand by your friends and what you believe in. Indigo is patriotism. Be proud of where you're from, your town, school, or country, and what you can do to make it better. Violet is service. Helping isn't just talk. Take action, volunteer, support others, do the little things that make a difference in someone's day. Well, because I mean, a lot of my Masonic friends, Masonic brothers, I should say, they have their daughters are involved in Rainbow. The International Order of Rainbow in Windsor, the Fort Assembly, was also really and incredibly helpful a couple years ago when we in Freemasonry, when my Masonic building was engaged in grant applications. They wrote letters in support of the grant applications. They came out to open houses. They helped volunteer at our events. They actually even, acted as volunteers and helped to serve food or help to get things ready, clean up, whatever it is, during some banquets and special events. So they did a ton of volunteer work in and around the building, a ton of things for Freemasonry, not just in my building, but in the entire Essex County District. And I think our Masonic youth groups need to get more love and more respect from, I guess you want to call me the graybeard now, but the older generations of Freemasonry, right? We tend not to support as much as we should. I think it's unfortunate because they do a ton of great work in the community. They are very much a forward-facing aspect of the craft. And it's one of those situations, too. A lot of Masons don't even know that Rainbow exists. I mean, if you're once upon a time, a father of a Rainbow girl gave a presentation in our lodge, and he pointed out, like, he is a Mason, his dad is a Mason, his granddad was a Mason. When he had three daughters, he wasn't sure he could pass on Freemasonry to them, and he discovered through Rainbow that he could. So there you go. Manitoba does have a high Filipino Freemason membership, as do many places around the world. Filipinos, the Philippine connection to Freemasonry is very strong. Jose Rizal and Filipinos have been a very valuable and important part of the craft. Not being mistreated, there was supposedly some type of vandalism at a Iranian restaurant. I believe it was in Toronto. Iranian restaurant attacked Toronto, I think it was. Or Montreal, actually, might have been. Or no, it's so let's see. It was a restaurant. So, Iranian-owned Toronto area boxing gym targeted by gunfire. That was 2 days ago. That's what I thought it was. That's from the National Post story. Okay, it was. It was a boxing gym. I don't know why I thought it was a restaurant. An Iranian-owned boxing gym in Thornhill, Ontario, was targeted by gunfire early Sunday morning in an apparent threat against activists. That is a National Post story published March 2nd, 2026. I've said this before. I do not want to see regional conflicts being brought into Canada. I don't care if you're Iranian, Jewish, Israeli, Arab. If you live here, you are my brother. If you're a citizen, great. Either way, you're part of my community. You might be one of my Masonic brothers. And, I don't want to see regional conflicts being brought into Canada. I don't care if you're Iranian, Jewish, Israeli, Arab. If you live here, you are my brother. You are, if you're a citizen, great. Either way, you're part of my community. You might be one of my Masonic brothers. And I have nothing but respect for you. I don't want to see you targeted for your race, religion, ethnicity, or anything else. Um, you must be a god damage. So according to this, hold on just one second. Now again, rainbow is different in like rainbow is jurisdictional in the same way that all Freemasonry is. So that means that rainbow is under different jurisdictions, different rules and regulations. In Canada, it is ages 6 to 21. At least that's according to CanadaIORG.org. And I believe that's the case. In my experience, I was always told 21. Now, in the States, it could be 20. Um, um, the demole, the rainbow thing. So yeah, have nothing but respect for our youth groups, both demole and rainbow, and for that matter, there's Job's Daughters as well, which I don't believe is present in Ontario at the moment, but is in the States. It's one of those things where I think we need to show more respect, and not even respect, just more awareness of our youth groups. They are an incredibly valuable part of the craft. In some cases, especially for demole, they provide a pipeline through which, or not even a pipeline that makes it sound like there's no choice, but they provide an introduction to Freemasonry, which some people then use to move from demolate to Freemasonry and kind of give you a level of skill and ability that within things like memorization and ritual work, which can come in very handy in Masonic leadership positions. They often perform charity works, which reflects well on the craft as a whole. Again, I think when it comes to Rainbow, the local fort here did some absolutely incredible things and helped us out a great deal a few years ago when it came to our grant applications by promoting the building, promoting Freemasonry, assisting, volunteering at events, doing charitable work. It was really, really cool. So they did a great job. And I look forward to supporting them tonight. Well, hardly soft taco. Do you have, and I'm not trying to avoid your question, I'm just asking you a question, but once you answer it, I will keep going. Hardly soft taco, what is your favorite song? Because presumably, I mean, it'd be interesting if you and I had the same favorite song, but presumably, your favorite song is different from mine. What does the song give you that it doesn't give to me? Why is it that I hear that song and it's not my favorite, but you hear it and it is? Right? At the end of the day, what Freemasonry provides, it's not about Masonry itself. It provides brotherhood, it provides tradition, it can provide familial connections, it provides a organized, time to meet and enjoy one another's company. You may get those same things through your religious affiliations. You may get those same things through sports or gaming or going to the gym. At the end of the day, there's something unique about me that responds well to Freemasonry. In the same way, there's something unique about me that responds to Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. You could say, why do you like that song? You can listen to music by this song. It's the song. And to a certain extent, when it comes to Freemasonry, there is a leap of faith that goes into it. You can get to know the brothers, you can get to know the lodge and go to public events and learn more about it. And that will help you make an educated guess as to whether you think you'll enjoy it or not. But at the end of the day, you're never going to know for sure until you take the leap of faith and join. It's kind of like asking you to pick your favorite song before you hear it, right? I can learn more about you, learn about the genres you enjoy, the type of music you like. But to a certain extent, you just have to kind of make a decision. I would say if you're the type of person who enjoys tradition, enjoys, um, being around other people, enjoys history, has a respect for charity and tolerance of others, and also is interested in trying to improve oneself in the community, there's a chance you'll enjoy Freemasonry and it might be worth joining. Um, Hardly Soft Taco, that's a perfect way to put it. It's just another way to belong to something bigger than myself, and it just happens to fit me personally. That's absolutely the way. Damned Call of Duty, a lot of 2000 songs my mom would play in the car. Nostalgia is a heck of a drug. I just watched Scream 7, and that made me think a lot about nostalgia. Back to the 1996 um, original Scream, especially the soundtrack. That's very nostalgic. If you guys want to learn more about Canadian International Order of Rainbow, you can go to CanadaIORG.org. One more time, that's CanadaIORG.org, all one word. CanadaIORG.org. What is Rainbow? There's also the International Order of Rainbow for Girls in America. You can also, if you know any, again, young women between the ages of 6 to 21 who are interested in joining, you can go to that website, click on Get Involved and how to join, and then you can find your closest rainbow assembly. Basically, what you do is you click on See Your Locations or See Our Locations, and it has a list of all the different assemblies in Canada. Right, specifically, the Fort Assembly is 986 Olette Avenue, Windsor Masonic Temple. Well, I mean, I think the purpose, honestly, the purpose of the religious parallels is convenience. So when they were developing these Masonic ceremonies and rituals in the 18th and 17th centuries, they had to rely on stories and parallels that were well known or popular to people. And at that time, especially, religion, specifically the Christian faith, would have been particularly well known, stories therein. And so it made sense to rely upon those. And then because Freemasonry evolved from stonemasonry, and King Solomon's Temple famously was known for using a great deal, at least apocryphally, a great deal of stonemasons in the building of it, using King Solomon was a natural fit for that. And then you can find valuable lessons in the Kabbalah. You can even find lessons from Islam. So it's like, why reinvent the wheel, right? However, Freemasonry did borrow or parallel many other traditions, ideologies, systems far outside of religion. I mean, architectural orders, Stoic philosophy, Enlightenment philosophy, um, stone Masonic guilds primarily, and those structures. It was kind of take what works, right? And use them. Good poets borrow, great poets steal. Well, it depends on kind of what they're doing and the nature of the event. Tonight's event, it is suit and tie and regalia. So there you go. Bye, Dad. I love you. Hope you're doing well. I am still 2 subscribers away from 3,650. Help a brother out. Let's even get to that 3,650 mark. Again, yeah, and I talked about this before. Suit and tie are absolutely always nice. It's one of those situations where um, I talked about this yesterday during the official visit, right? Like official visit discussion. Even if you're part of a Masonic lodge and it does not have a even if you are part of a Masonic lodge that does not have a dress code, taking the time to wear to wear a suit and tie, it shows respect for the lodge, especially during an official visit. I would say if there's no dress code, you don't need to wear a suit and tie all the time, but why not on an official visit at an installation? I'd make sure it's clean and nice and et cetera, et cetera. In Freemasonry, it's just a type of dress code. We don't really wear them much anymore. I very rarely have seen, at least in my experience, I very rarely have seen white gloves anymore. To my understanding, it's a tradition that dates back to like the 1920s, where when people would wear tuxedos, tux and tail, they'd also wear white gloves at the same time. Just another sign of respect, dressing up nice, but I'm not a fan of them myself. I think that's too fancy, personally. Well, I welcome immigration. I guess you'd have to define what you mean by excess, but well, I do not know what the white glove society is. I mean, I remember back in the day, like if you look back in the day at people going to like fancy parties, they would wear tuxes and tails, and also you'd also, very often see them in white gloves. So, um, right, sometimes, not all the time. I personally, in my experience, it's rare that you actually see white gloves being worn at Masonic events. That's good, Mr. Courtney. Nothing wrong with that. That's showing respect for the lodge. So I think that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. There are aspects of Freemason that interest me more than others. But I mean, I think everybody will find that to be the case, right? Freemasonry, one of the most beautiful things about it is we all have, as Masons, different areas that interest us. For me, I suppose I would say I like the history of it. I like the privileged position it puts you in to try to help the community. Because what happens is, you're put in a position where you can pool resources. You're meeting with other men, other people. You have now a function and a structure through which you can engage in charitable activities, visit people in the hospital, collect cans and goods and services for food banks, right? I think those two things especially. I've always been more interested in the outward nature of Freemasonry as opposed to inward, right? I'm not too interested in Freemasonry as a way to make me better, but rather as a way to make communities better. And I do believe that if nothing else, by Freemasonry demonstrating that it is possible for men of different faiths, religions, and backgrounds to work together, to meet together in harmony, it demonstrates to the world that such things are possible, especially because it feels less and less possible in 2026, unfortunately. And I think Freemasonry shows no, it actually is possible and valuable. From Iran, all right, well, welcome. I hope you're okay. Hope everybody watching this is okay, wherever you are in the world, but especially if you're in a war zone. Yeah, I look ugly. I've grown to accept it, but there you go. I try to be positive. I don't know if I'm always successful, but I try to be positive. I don't always succeed. They drive perfectly fine. Never had any issues with the way they drive. I'm sure they drive better than me. My hands are definitely not soft. I got calluses all over them from wheeling everywhere. So I got working hands, I'll tell you that. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about the International Order of Rainbow Girls. Again, an excellent, or International Order of Rainbow for Girls, an excellent Masonic youth group one that we should be proud as part of the Masonic family, one that we should, if at all possible, support and support as much as we can as Masons. Their charitable efforts, their work in the community, it does nothing but reflect positively on the craft as a whole. Um, well, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, Rizwan. I'm highly suspicious that you're actually from Iran. But I will say again to everybody in harm's way, thinking of you. I hope you're going to be okay. I hope you can be as safe as possible. I know that's an easy thing to say when I'm here in Canada and not at risk, but again, thoughts are with everybody who's in harm's way, um, including and unlimited to my Masonic brethren, who, again, many of them will be directly in harm's way or have families who are in harm's way. There was a Grand Lodge in Iran. It was outlawed in 1969. Or sorry, it existed in 1969. It was outlawed in 1979. But, it's still, there are many Iranian Masons. Grand Lodge of Iran in Exile is presently out of Los Angeles. They still have families in Iran, friends in Iran. They may be in Iran at the moment, like travel back and forth, or work in Iran, whatever it might be. The point is, we're thinking of all of our Masonic brethren who may be in trouble, or may be in danger. Follow the advice of government instructions wherever you are. In the case of many places in the Middle East right now, it is you're being instructed to not travel to, for example, Iran, Israel, or if you are there, to shelter in place. If you're a Canadian and you happen to find yourself in the Middle East right now, or are in the Middle East right now, you can absolutely, and you should register with the government, so they know where you are and they can contact you as soon as they find a way to evacuate you from any of these countries that are in harm's way. I'm studying there, doing research for my radiology. Okay. Well, then I guess I hope you're sheltering in place. I hope you're keeping yourself as safe as you possibly can. Um, well, there is no Iranian. Well, the Iranian brothers will more than likely be part of the Grand Lodge of Iran in Exile in Los Angeles. Having said that, though, I did ask, and if anybody knows of any Masonic charities who are supporting, anyone in the Middle East, but especially brethren, let me know and I'll post it. I've not heard of anything specific, but I'm not even sure how you would set that up or what that would look like. I mean, at this point, obviously, there's really nothing that could be done. It's more a matter of once the situation resolves, however it does, how can we make sure that aid is brought in to any civilians who may need it, especially Masonic brethren? And that's throughout the Middle East. That's also in Israel, by the way, right? I'm a member of Masonic Lodge in Tel Aviv, which I understand has been hit by several missiles. There's Masonic lodges in Jordan. Lebanon has Masons, right? How do we support all of them, and get aid to all of them and anyone who may need it? Well, in terms of covering, right, this isn't a news channel. This is about Freemasonry. I promote stories related to, or I promote stories that, or I promote the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located and provide stories of Masonic interest. However, when there are any Masons who find themselves in harm's way, either because of a natural disaster or a conflict or a war or violence, I always try to mention it, try to give, again, my thoughts and prayers, but more than that, if there are any charitable efforts or relief efforts underway, I do my best to promote those. That was the case for example, the Texas floods last year, the California wildfires, Israel, Gaza, and now, I guess U.S. Iran. Um, well, you can think whatever you want to about the government, CBA. I'm not going to make comments about the government, but the people of Israel are people, no different than anywhere else. And, people everywhere deserve support and safety. And If we as Freemasons can help provide that to our Masonic brothers there, I think that's all the better. We're going to give it a bit more time. This is about to just any general questions, comments, thoughts you guys have. I'd love to hear them. We'll be back on tonight at 1 a.m. Those 1 a.m. streams are usually quite fun. And then we'll be back on at 1 p.m. Tomorrow as well. Never during a lodge meeting, but I've seen live streams inside lodge rooms where they're having a special event or a celebration or whatever it might be. So sure, that can absolutely happen. It just depends on the lodge itself and if they get permission from Grand Lodge, and there's a lot of different things that go into it, right? You can't just live stream inside of a lodge room. There's certain rules and regulations. I will mention though, next week, excuse me, I have some really special events coming up, but the 11th and the 12th, I've got a special event, a virtual event, a writer's pub crawl through Medium. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I do have written content on Medium. I hope you guys will check it out. I mean, I don't think you can use the term stupid. I think maybe they're not covering things as much as you'd like them to, but you need to keep in mind that again, all media coverage, whether it's from the Western world or Eastern world or Middle East or whatever it is going to have its biases, right? I think we as consumers of media should do our best to try to keep in mind what biases may exist and how we can best guard against allowing them to, or being aware of those biases helps us better understand the content we are consuming and the media we are consuming. Well, they're different spaces. It's not a competition, light free. So Freemasonry is in the civic space. To my knowledge, Scientology is in the religious space. So they occupy different spaces. As a consequence of that, they're not. It's kind of like saying chicken or beef. What wins? Do you like chicken? Do you like beef? They're not meant to be the same thing or part of the same, or even because they're both food. It'd be more like saying what wins, eating chicken or playing football. One does not compete with the other. You can do both. Shukran is Arabic, not Farsi. Usually I do 2 hours. Yesterday was just a longer stream because I was having a good time and I didn't have anything planned, but I got some work to do, but I will be posting some stuff on socials. Usually I do about a 2 hour stream, give or take, 2 to 3 hours. I will be back on though at 1 a.m. Well, but then we would be in competition for a specific area or a specific place, not for people, right? I suppose that's like saying if a football team and a restaurant want to build a restaurant wants to build, you have a restaurant that wants to build in a location and a football team wants to create a stadium on that same location. They're both in competition. But at the end of the day, they're in competition in a very specific and limited sense, which is they both want a location. That doesn't mean they are in competition for the more broad idea or broad sense of competing for people, if you want to put it that way. Well, again, actually, interesting enough, Morocco has a really cool Masonic history. I would love to visit Morocco at some point if I could, because it's one of the Muslim countries that actually is fairly open and welcoming of Freemasonry. There's some pretty active lodges there. So I would love to visit Morocco at some point. I hear it's really beautiful. Again, studying there, nothing but wishing you safety as much as you can be safe. And that I hope that this issue eventually, this conflict, battle, war, pick your term, resolves itself and you're able to resume your studies. Um, I am not CIA. There are some Masons, I'm sure, who've been CIA in the past, not to, create any conspiracy theories, none of which I'm aware. Actually, Hoover was a Mason, but he was FBI. So thank you, Rizwan. I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. And more than that, though, more than that, please keep yourself safe. That's what I hope for you the most. Well, that's fine. JFK was incorrect about that. Not saying he was a bad president. One of my favorite movies is 13 Days. But luckily, also, Freemasonry is not a secret society. So, Freemasonry is a very public society. Here I am talking about it. And I'm happy and proud to talk about it. Mr. Courtney, all of that stuff sounds absolutely delicious. You're making me jealous. I like chili cheese fries quite a bit. Um, so that is awesome. We're just going to give it a few more minutes. We're going to see who joins. We'll be back on tonight at 1 a.m. So take a few moments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Consider doing a super chat. Consider supporting International Order of Rainbow for Girls. Find a local chapter within your region, within your area. If you have, or you know of any, young women between the ages of 6 and 21, show them the website. Maybe they're interested in joining. It's a great organization. It provides the same values, teachings, understandings in many ways as Freemasonry does. Well, you're definitely making me jealous. Husafel, I mean, I've never been one who believes in conspiracy theories. I tend to just take the kind of standard explanation as correct. So until I'm given proof of otherwise, I'm going to say it was, what's his name again? Lee Harvey Oswald, who did it, who was not, to my knowledge, a Freemason. Again, despite the conspiracy theories out there that seem to always say he was. And once again, happy 189th birthday to, in my opinion, the greatest city in the world, Chicago. Great Masonic history there as well, by the way. And I've got my awesome, awesome casino coffee. Very sorry. Mr. Keeps. I know whenever you see it, you always say, oh, it's terrible. It's wonderful. I don't think he was. Was Al Capone a Mason? Never heard. If he was definitely doing a lot of non-Masonic activities within Freemasonry, right? You're expected to comply with the laws of the country in which you live. So based on available historical records, Al Capone was not a Freemason. Um, Hello, Mr. Froggy. I think you've been here before, but I haven't seen you for a while. If you're missing the stream, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you are turning on your notification bell. That way, whenever it is that I'm streaming, you'll get a notification immediately, right? And you'll be able to join me because I stream every day approximately 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Um, Is there a process to get kicked out of the Freemasonry? Well, you can be suspended, right, from Freemasonry is the term. There is a process. I mean, the most common way somebody would be suspended from Freemasonry is if they just failed to pay their dues. Now, lodges will work with you. They will give you different options to pay your dues, including, they will, for example, um, give you a payment plan or even forgive the dues, but you need to take the first step and approach them. I do think in many cases, if brethren fall on financially difficult times, it can be embarrassing for them to, say they need help. And so they end up just not telling brothers what's going on and just not communicating with the lodge. And then they get suspended for that. It's a relatively simple process. There's just a report made that brother so and so failed to pay his dues and therefore must be suspended. And that's all it is. Now, if you're found to do something unmasonic, for example, commit a criminal offense, what can happen in those cases is you are, you are suspended for unmasonic conduct. Very often there can be a Masonic trial, it's called, although other times it can be as simple as, describing what happened in lodge. So and so was found guilty of a criminal offense, and it's an automatic suspension in those cases for unmasonic conduct. But usually there needs to be an informing of the lodge and informing of the worshipful master. The process does kind of change jurisdiction to jurisdiction. And if someone has been accused of committing a criminal offense, let's say, and the belief is they should be removed from the lodge, then he can be brought up on Masonic charges. There can be user. It depends on the lodge itself, right? Every Masonic lodge will have to decide how it wants to handle dues. So if you want to join Freemasonry, however, you are, you don't have the money at the time, the lodge may agree to give you a payment plan of some sort. However, what you need to keep in mind is what you need to keep in mind in those cases is if you are in such a kind of challenging situation that, because usually it's not that expensive to join, that you need to be in a payment plan to join, it may be best to get your own financial situation sorted out first. Because even if you need a payment plan to join, there's going to be annual dues every year. And if every year you need a payment plan, maybe the focus should be on your own financial situation, if that makes any sense. Once again, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and thank you for being here. I'm not sure what a termination or excommunication would mean. Again, Freemasonry, you can't really be excommunicated. That is a religious term. So I wouldn't call it that, right? I wouldn't call it a religious term. In terms of a termination, it's called a suspension, but it can mean the same thing, right? It means that you are you're not a Freemason, you don't have any rights and privileges related to Freemasonry. Now, it's absolutely the case that you may be suspended and then you can apply to return to Freemasonry. Either, let's say you didn't pay your dues because you got a financial hardship, but now you have the ability to do so. That's possible. Or there's different ways and options it can work, right? And so A suspension does not mean a suspension forever. It's one of those situations where um, like you have to figure it out yourself. Like you have to work within the context of the lodge. So let's say, for example, you committed a criminal offense and you're suspended for the committing that criminal offense. That doesn't mean you can never return to Freemasonry. What it means is you've been suspended, maybe you've gone to jail, maybe you've gone probation. You then go back to the lodge, you can explain what happened, the mistakes that you made, and how you're doing your best to make things better. And you kind of go from there, right? That is kind of what you have to do. And maybe the lodge will agree to bring you back, maybe they won't. But all you can do is try your best within the context of um, of the criminal offense to explain what happened, try to make amends, maybe go to counseling, get anger management counseling. If alcohol or drugs are involved, get substance abuse counseling, and then do your best from there, moving forward. So that would be my advice um, on that one, for whatever it's worth. Um, yeah, in some ways that's the case. Absolutely. And again, if you didn't pay your dues, if it was a situation of you were too embarrassed to admit you needed financial help, then maybe once you get your finances in order, you can join once again, or you can apply to join once again, and you can say, you know, um, I got into financial trouble. I couldn't pay the dues. I was too embarrassed to admit it, but I now am back in good position, and I'm able to repay the dues I owe plus my current dues. And the lodge can vote and bring you back in. And normally, in my experience, if you're suspended for non-payment of dues, the lodge will more often than not bring you back in. Um, well, not, I mean, if you were suspended for doing the unthinkable, which I assume means a criminal offense of a sort, then no, but that you weren't suspended for non-payment. You were suspended for committing a crime. And in that case, it would be, I mean, it depends on the severity of the crime, the nature of the crime, what happened. And if you've taken steps to make amends, go to jail, served your time, gone to counseling. But the more unthinkable the crime, I would suggest the less and less likely it is that you'll be able to return to Freemasonry. But David Thompson, you need to pay more attention to what I'm saying because clearly you're not. No, Marty, that's not the case. In fact, Freemasonry kind of pushes against the idea of being invited. You can be invited to public events, but if you want to join Freemasonry, you need to approach the lodge and express your interest in joining. It's not about you being invited. You have to want to join. So you approach the lodge, express your interest, and go from there. It's not about invitation. We have men joining every day who are not quote unquote invited. To be one, ask one, as MMT Traveling Man points out. And no, we do not cancel anyone's life in society. So, very sorry to disappoint. Um, and we do not recruit. Absolutely. Now, again, you can be invited to like a public event, an open house, right? That is very common and that happens all the time. But that is to get a chance for people to learn more about Freemasonry, not necessarily to get people to quote unquote like have to join Freemasonry, or it's just to give people a chance to learn more about it. Maybe put aside any misunderstandings they may have of it. It's not a recruitment though, so you don't need to be invited to join. You say new follower, did you hit the like and subscribe button? If you did, I would very much, if you did, thank you. If you didn't, please do so. We can do it however you want to. I mean, it depends on what's most convenient for you. If you want, you can go there in person and knock on the door. But if you do that, my advice is always bring with you a letter that has your name and information on it. Because you may show up to the lodge, but they may be busy, they may be having a meeting, or just nobody's available. you can still leave the letter in the mail slot or give it to somebody so they know you were there and they have your contact information to call you back. Or you can call them, or you can write, send an email. You said you're from England, so what you want to do is check out the United Grand Lodge of England, their website, their official website. It does have a section where you can find the Masonic lodge that is closest to you. So there you go. Well, thank you, Marty. Which bar in UK? Out of curiosity, which bar was it? But David Thompson, yeah, I mean, email, letter, send a carrier pigeon, phone call. Just make sure, however you're contacting them, you are taking the time to A, speak clearly or write clearly so they can decipher what you're saying, and B, make sure you're talking to the lodge directly, right? And like you're giving them the information they need to contact you back once again. Don't just give a phone call saying like, "Hey, I'd like to be a Mason," and then hang up. Give them your name and your phone number and a way to get in touch with you. Um, Freemasonry does not provide salvation. The question of salvation or the threat of damnation is a question for your religious understanding, not Freemasonry. So if anybody came to me and said, I want to be saved in a religious sense or get salvation through Freemasonry, I would tell them you're in the wrong spot. And I would hope that they would reconsider. Yes, Freemasons not to recruit. Membership must be voluntary, personal choice driven, and a genuine desire for self-improvement. That is absolutely the case. Town hall. Well, I mean, I make myself look silly at least 10 times a day, so don't worry about that. I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of if you want to join, then great. If you want to learn more about it, then great. It's completely up to you, right? But I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? So it's not looking foolish. Taking the time to ask questions is not going to make you look foolish if you're interested in learning more about the craft. Um, Even if you decide you don't want to join, like you take the time to learn more about Freemasonry and then you decide, you know what, I'm just not interested in joining, you've still accomplished something. You've taken time to learn more about it. So, more power to you, I think. I think that's awesome. You should be proud, right? Taking the time to ask questions and learn something is never looking foolish, in my humble opinion. You know you're doing a great job, Mr. Courtney, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. I'm grateful for your assistance. Um, well, I mean, it's not a good idea to do anyone wrong. You should let the court systems decide that, can't I? But I would say if you feel like you've paid your debts to society and you're trying to make amends, then that's all you can do, right? So good for you. More power to you. Well, I mean, honestly, David Thompson, there may very well be lodges that are like, it's not so much anymore just because there are so few like lodges themselves, like members themselves than before. But back when there was significant membership and Freemasonry was ubiquitous, what you did see is lodges would form based on shared professions. So you had police officer lodges, mechanics lodges, railroad worker lodges. In 2026, because the numbers are so much smaller, there's probably not as much of that anymore. But in theory, it might be possible to find a lodge that is maybe majority auto worker, or you could start one yourself after you join Freemasonry. You're welcome, Marty. I don't know, but Theo Vaughn's a great dude, so there you go. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to be ending this stream now. It's been 2 hours and 5 minutes. I'll be back on tonight at 1 a.m. So I'll see you all then. All right, talk to you guys later.